meeting. Order at 1900. You guys just remain standing for a second. Just like to take a moment of silence for Dan Marsh. Passed away. Owner of MTS. This past August. So, passed away. Of course, we just take a silence. All right, thank you. Get a chance to look at the minutes. Second. On the question, any questions, changes, additions? In favor, just raise your hand. I'd like to start off on a somber. Yes. First of all, receiving Sarah Carter Council.
So I had an opportunity to accept a different position. So my teaching position so office. Yes, I'm at still in the education department, but it's approximately different. So because I accept to step several
like thanks there. That's the next chapter. But I'm sure she's always welcome. Please get a round of applause. Sure, he's one for us. Spot. The next CMS REMSCO meeting will be held December 3rd and 4th in Troy. Getting out there, Troy is not very nice this time of year, so if you want to go in like May or September, it's much nicer. But if you're interested, try to make it out there for a meeting. I know some of you have been out there once or twice for some meetings. It's definitely a different perspective. You can also watch these meetings live telecast. So if you have time, you can check. Grants Gateway, we continue to work and hopefully have a much larger update for you guys in January. EMS legislation, as we all know, there was a piece of legislation that passed when we last spoke. TIP and CAD, so treat, place, and transport to alternate destinations under Medicaid. Those reimbursement changes will be happening. One of the things with the new regime taking over federally, I don't know what that will look like. One of the things I do know is Trump really hates football, so this might hurt our state plan amendment on the Medicaid side, right? So we'll see what will happen very shortly. But the state has already sent all that information in, so who knows whatever will that process. And then the last time we talked about was the definition of EMS. That still seems to be the definition that's going to be used kind of going forward. So no further that. Training and education. PSI exam still working to make that transition easier for students to test. CC Bridge, nothing new to report other than the date for sunsetting is still in place. So the CCs are still out there. I encourage you to reach out to 112 Bridge or sign up for original or collaborative protocols. Really nothing new. There was a meeting a couple weeks ago. Earlier this month. Anybody in here that was on? Long down. Talk about a few things, and then the anticipation is that any changes will be done in December. For a rollout date of 7/1. We don't think there's any really big drastic changes, so hopefully there won't be any large education endeavors. And if there is, hopefully another region creates it, borrow it. Regulations. Biggest thing still is the equipment for 800 changes. I did have a meeting on those weeks ago. For some public comments. There is going to be some clarification, some questions, and some things that are out there. So they can not go up yet. The hope that they're going to go up sometime in December. How that feedback that we receive will determine what the next steps are. We believe a lot of the content that was addressed go around. But hopefully, one of the big things that I thought is that right now the equipment regular speeds now that go out. There was a couple of interstate policy updates. One of them, last one, had automated source links. So just kind of that have to have use. So don't be surprised. System, the 0606 draft is still in progress. Still working on ECMC has got October. ECMC staff system. Yeah. Action. Have you seen any other issues? All the time. So far, just as a reminder, lay off. Also, 45 minutes an hour. Sometimes anything probably stay time. Probably something. Or reach out to staff. Operations, full service inspection, continuing. Also, in their operations, they put out policy 9 public advisory. That's plan. Anybody involved? Think that all go forward with that policy. Couple changes. CMS put out the link in the agenda. CMS thing I put up final meeting schedule by code. This week is first responder safety week. Second big takeaway there is just federal highway administration and self-assessment help needs that program identify strengths and areas for opportunities. So that links provided in the agenda. It's only that. I also link for our island they banned standard but island hospital staff hospital they call it urgent backlog in the hospital. So this isn't something that is locally statewide, that's interest for you guys. And then OSHA rate currently public comment period last was that last 12. In the link it has we'll have all the names of public comment last meeting before Thanksgiving is the 22nd. A couple public comment December. Encourage to go on and go that's wrong about again. Place. That's thinking over it. John, you physicals every year now for your provider. Unfunded mandates. Be interesting to see what happens. But that's how it got. When they started, they want the fire service first. Yeah, it's not. Then they want part. I'm sure he wants to IDL pilot projects that continues big years that still get added to the IDL project. Finance committee still continues to report in terms of multi officer, keep spending your training dollars. That's the last time we spoke. That's out there. So, formation not having contract. Money ship. Good. We were told that this is a multi-year pension money. So, we'll have about it. Safety, that Dr. Isaacs applied, get straight policy that guidance document across New York State. Is no shot training somebody in the household. A lot of people that involved with it. A lot of documentation, EMS. Not that it's changed that. It's talking about that. Trying to really enforce that against EMS. And have them physical hands-on training. Just wanted to data as provided for that. A lot of issues that we see in a lot of the states stuff like that. Issues where they get themselves in trouble that there's a mountain time for something that responsible conscious. Also having vital signs of done or news so do it. So after it's hey, let's try straight set of vitals, then so Dr. Isaacs done a lot of work out of it already. But already he was guidance document across New York State. Last policy guidance document each that education so that try to upgrade education. Teach that we don't generate much work to be done there. Treasurer report that programming that.
Thank you. So since our last regional meeting, sent out a number of items, informational and training notice wise, starting back in September, legislation, T3 survey, new Trauma Talk newsletter that has gone out, that's been produced by ECMC, Regional Trauma Advisory Committee. So we actually sent out now 2 of them. The first one went out in September. There's some guidance that came out from the state about mental health for providers, so it's for us what to do for ourselves. Those lines. As Andy mentioned, the EMS wait time survey, we did send out an item about that, updated the officer resources portion of the UBMD EMS website. There was also a few other items, Paul Sarah meeting notification or cancellation, soliciting awards for the Mercy Hospital awards dinner, item about the vital signs previous conference, the games that they were doing, the EMS games. Opportunity for AMR Earn While You Learn. There was some transport information regarding Mount St. Mary's. Another cancellation for Paul Sarah. The health advisory that Andy had mentioned on the supply chain disruption. We sent out a notice, and I'll talk a little bit more about it in a minute, about our portal. There was also a notice that went out about an AED contest. I was looking for AEDs across the area, and there was information in there about how you can join that contest. As part of it, I think there's some prizes associated with it. Job opportunity, Mercy, I believe that should be Mercy Flight. There was a Catholic Health OB class correction date that went out. Mercy Hospital door code update. Narcan supply item of interest for Niagara County. Catholic Health job opportunity. This week being crash responder safety, so we sent out an item about that, as well as the mobile sim lab cancellation for Catholic Health. On the training side, numerous vital signs and NEMSIS educational snips went out. There was an item that went out about the EMS leadership training. That was through EMS Leadership Academy, virtual class that went out. Mercy Flight virtual CME series, that item went out in September. Some of the CME opportunities from Catholic Health, the mobile sim lab, newer cognitive medication, an informational item went out through there. There was also a class, OB class for Catholic Health at Darien Lake, and mobile sim training for Niagara County. We sent out a couple items regarding identifying some classes that were held in Erie County or going to be held in Erie County, identifying and responding to human trafficking, as well as the hidden truth about strangulation. Some items went out additionally for research courses for PALS and ACLS, as well as the SUNY Niagara Spring 2025 course calendar. And then Mercy Flight November CME and paramedic program course information. That was as of Monday. I think we sent out a few items since then. I didn't make this report. So the portal update, just want to touch on that real quick. In October, there was an update that was made on the back end portal that was correcting some of the Band-Aid solutions that have been in place over the years. With that change, it resulted in now correctly showing some providers across both regions that are now offline due to not updating their REMAX skills or having those skills updated in the portal by the June 30th REMAX deadline. So we sent out that information. I think we pretty much isolated or contained most of that. I think everyone's been responsive to that. I don't know. Anything else to add about that?
We're working on making some adjustments.
Yeah, so as the next bullet point, the portal updates going forward. There will be some system adjustments that will automatically show providers as offline if the REMAX skills are not completed and entered by that June 30th date. And actually, we're looking at changing some of that language as well to show as compliant or non-compliant, as opposed to the online or offline. So some changes going on that side. While we're on the topic of the portal, both regions that we support are responsible for collecting a lot of data that goes into that portal and maintaining these records. I know that for some agencies, some of the larger agencies, commercial agencies, they maintain their own data and records, which is great. However, we maintain it as well. And for a lot of the smaller agencies, our portal is their source of information. So that's why we ask to keep it updated and we check up on it regularly. Especially for this region, you get an email or phone call from me, trying to track down some items or make sure that we're getting updates in there. And then with regards to updates in the portal, while we're still working through, or I'm still working through a lot of those items and getting used to working with the agencies here in Big Lakes, we're asking that you be the owner of your data in the system. We own the system, but you be the owner of your own agency's data. And some of that data is your certification dates, your inspection dates, your primary agency contacts. So if we need to get a hold of somebody, we understand this is like a lot of places, volunteers. This is election time, so your agency leadership may change once that does happen. If that does, we just ask that you go in and update that. So if we have to get a hold of somebody, we can look and see who the most current contact is. That also goes for your EPCR coordinator contacts, your CME coordinators, as well as your CLIA information, making sure you have updated items along those lines. So there was another item that came up over the past couple months about the notices that we do send out. So for those of you that are subscribed to our listserv, you know that Rob and I are pretty active in sending out items for anywhere from multiple times a day to multiple notifications within a week, depending on what's going on, various things. We're only as good as the information we have. We share everything that we get, so we don't. We have 5 counties in total that we're covering, and pretty big swath of Western New York. So we don't necessarily see everything ahead of time. And if there's items that you think that we should be sending out, or you think that we might be missing, please let us know. Please let me know if it's something related to Big Lakes area, and obviously Rob as well. But we're trying our best to make sure we get all that information out. With regards to some of the hospitals on this end of the region, we don't necessarily get a lot of information from Rochester, Melrose, or through United Memorial. I know that there's a lot of agencies that actually transport there and work with them, which is phenomenal and great. But we're always good to see information that we have. Contracts, as Rob mentioned, that's still in progress. We did have a meeting with the states to walk through some items, regular meeting. The director noted that contracts are still in process for both the REMSCOs as well as program agencies. He did note that as a program agency specific call, he did note that the contracts for us are out of the division's hands at this time. They're within the state government. So going through all of that process. So as mentioned earlier about the additional funding, that's stuff that we don't have yet. Operations reminders, again, make sure your agencies, your CLIA notifications are, CLIA certifications are being taken care of and handled. We did go through, still going through a number of them, just making sure, verifying that what's on file with Wadsworth is on file. We have correct in the portal, but also that agencies are up to date with that. I think as Lisa mentioned about the full service inspection, so I can skip over that one. Vital signs, we did attend the Vital Signs Conference this past month in Rochester. For those that hadn't been there was a lot of good classes that went on. There was including a 2-day leadership training course that Sarah and I both took, as well as one of other people from the region. So we're excited about that and some of the other things that there's to offer. The 2025 dates were published, I think, put out there November 11th through 14th in 2025, and that's going to be in Syracuse. And I think Amy is now taking over that from the state side. Call for presenters and topics will be sent out. Lastly, we're working on, as part of that leadership class, working on revamping and adding to our leadership and officer training resources. So on our website, we have a officer resource guide. Again, this time of year, new officers coming in, new line officers maybe coming into your organization and agency. This guide is intended to give them a jump start as to what they might be expected to do as an EMS officer, but also as an officer in general. So with conjunction with a few courses and different things that are out there, looking to add in some items about leadership in general, as well as officer development. And then, Andy, as you mentioned, the last thing was the next council meeting for the state being in a few weeks in December.
Report. Anybody have anything for Zach? Any reports? Training event, sir.
So training event earlier this month, I booked myself. So we're sure it's involved. Different meeting I look at all that information so we have two virtual facts. These are answers for all of them. Say I both of you. These are answers for things that they are also that's right now to have reach out to them and let them know. Reach out to them, share things that you so
Sarah mentioned. Chair. Sure. Yeah. Just reach out. Bylaws, nothing. Sorry. Just want to say thank you. Time that help Steve work on it. Steve also work. So just want to say thank you. One letter word transfer the body here. Make sure that that center off the state competency. Once we get thank you, Gary.
So I want you guys that come together last
She definitely would accept all. That's not that. Lisa. Anybody? Thanks. Dr. Seth.
Second.
When is your
I don't think it's as soon as the plum. This is gonna be up in like 30
Josh was actually good until next year.
Yeah.
He just assumed that term until over because we got the letter, reached out to Josh, Josh was like, yeah, good. And then like months later, he's like, hey, I'd like to. So he had just got reappointed back on. So I think his appointment is the 5.
does Dr. Quincy just got his here?
But it's just a free term. So, he's like
6
so he's still able to go. Once you're vetted, you're fine until the next person's vetted. So
I think once you're vetted, you're sort of like prison. So
until they vet somebody new to
right, you can find somebody to help out. Yes.
It's like being in purgatory. So, Emily. It's not that I have surgery, we're not gonna have. You know, just so that we have it. Yeah, that way. Awesome, thank you. Anybody have anything? Old business, performance standards, work still continue to be done. True fashion, some small language issues. Certain piece of equipment or whatever has been the holdup. We'll be taken care of soon, but we'll go through that process as well. Rick already touched on the lot court CON that we finished. So there, new business. First thing is committees, sharing, no, appointed committee, sign January. That something that interests you. Just think about it. Final thing I have for us to talk about is Tyler Crendick, Evan Echelon, and Wayne Allen. They did some better things. They got by the state. So, I will send you the thing. We have to read these names out all the record. I have like that. The last time I read everything that they're violated, I'll just read the name. Email you that. Well, spellings, let me know. I'll give you that stuff. But nobody in our region was affected. Who knows next time? This one? Ooh, oh, really? Proceed. Everyone sees that. I don't really know what happened. These, if they, if somebody that's just HR investigation. Next meeting will be January 19th. Oh, Terry.
By the way,
Yes, Terry. Yep, Terry.
I've been sending out emails, except Sarah and Zach's keep bouncing. So, Dave Bowell's gonna be on it, now for us in June here. I'd like to have a meeting after, and, I guess Sarah can't do it anymore, cross the name off. It's after, Snyder Fire Department. Probably 3 weeks ago, talked about the chiefs, because they got the pension. So he gave me all the information that, start working on that. So we can't, we need one more person on. There you go.
Yeah, email just.
Email, he bounced back. So, I got his email. We can have a meeting after.
Next meeting will be January 19th. I do have an email agenda sent out meeting dates. I already kind of got dates. Busy. Once we get that confirmed, location, add that on. This is the 22nd. January 22nd. If anybody wants to come on Sunday, you can come out there. I don't know if and also just those of you that haven't been there yet, it's a lot restricted area, so when you pull up the gate, just hit the button. The dispatch answers saw me there for the Big Lake 320 message, then they'll let you in. Don't try, if the gate starts to close, don't try to beat it. Just wait for it to close and then hit the button. Questions? Does anybody have anything under new business? Right. Last order of business, wish everybody a wonderful Thanksgiving next week. Celebrate Thanksgiving and a wonderful holiday season. Last thing I have is lunch. See you guys all in January. Motion to adjourn.